I'm so glad to catch this on film. Hi everyone, thought we'd do a little house update because as you can see, ta-da! We're pretty much at the same stage still as we were in terms of the actual building when I last did a video, which was months ago. And that is because, in true grand design style, we're waiting for the glass. I don't know how window and massive door companies work, but it just seems that in every single building project they are the problem. So it's been pretty rubbish. So the builders, who are amazing, have just been getting on with landscaping bits and pieces. So because the building is listed, everything within the curtilage is listed as well, and so anything that you do in terms of landscaping or in the garden has to also be approved by a heritage officer, and they approved this wonderful dry, it's not quite dry stone walling, it's kind of fake because it's held up really solidly rather than traditional dry stone walling, but it looks like dry stone walling, and it uses the stone from here. So I think it looks wonderful, but the builders are very bored now, and it's just been pretty depressing and stressful, really. Am I allowed in here? Let's have a little peek inside. So, all boarded up, and you don't really get a sense of the scale from my Instagram pictures that I've put up. So what I might do is just stand in front of this, because one of the reasons that we had to use the company that we're using is because most people couldn't make the doors as tall as we wanted them with really thin frames. So I mean, it's our own fault for always wanting something ridiculous, but let's see if my camera will stand here. So you can see everything has just been waiting for this bloody glass. That will be the door into what was the old dining room. That leads into the kitchen, and of course that's the original window into the kitchen. So again, because it's listed, you couldn't, I wouldn't have wanted to anyway, but we couldn't touch this wall. So this is going to look really beautiful. At the moment it looks very dramatically lit, but that's because everything else is obviously boarded up. So on a normal day, when it's done, all of this will be glass, and that won't look quite so dramatic, but hopefully I mean, it looks quite beautiful with the light coming down there. So it will look absolutely beautiful, hopefully. But as always, it's the details, all these little quirky things that you want, or that your architect draws in, that you think, wow, that's going to be amazing, that basically do you in. Oh, it's raining again, what a surprise. Oh, so the other thing is, it hasn't stopped raining for about 3 weeks, and so the builders haven't been able to do any of the pointing work. They've literally just been at a standstill and not being able to do anything. But it has been quite stressful, really, so I was really annoyed about it until the other day when I watched Grand Designs. I don't know whether you've seen the latest episode where the guy tries to build a lighthouse. It's not really a lighthouse, it's like, sorry, I'm gonna have to go in, it's so rainy, unless I stand under a tree. Let's stand under here, under the spooky log store, because that's always a good idea, isn't it? Oh. It's so scary in here. Hello! The last Grand Designs was this guy building a lighthouse. Wasn't a lighthouse, it was like a Bond villain's lair, jutting out from the side of a cliff over the sea. And because this cliff was sort of made of sandstone, a lot of it, it was going to just dissolve, basically. And so that eventually it would dissolve underneath the house, and the house would be jutting out over the top. So obviously no one would lend any money on it because they weren't mad. And then he got into all this trouble. Basically he had to borrow £3 million. I think that the plot had already cost him 1.4 million, had already got a house on it, which was all right. He knocked that down. Built another house on the land to try and sell that for £2 million so that he could fund the rest of his build. Nobody wanted to buy it because, in effect, he had what looked like a multi-storey car park built of concrete next to it, and it was deemed too dangerous for even anyone to live in that house that he had built, which he was trying to sell for 2 million. This isn't even the big house. Sorry to, by the way, if you're going to watch it, then spoiler alert. It spiraled out of control so badly that I felt physically ill, and it just got worse and worse and worse. So I was watching that and thinking, do you know what? The window situation isn't even that bad. I mean, I've paid for them. So this is like a tale of frustration, but also a tale of happiness, relief, and hashtag thankful that this is not a lighthouse on a cliff in, I think it was North Devon. A game of two halves, this video, I think you'll agree. And with any luck, these windows will be here. They're supposed. The reason I'm doing this now, I meant to do it ages ago, is that the windows are supposed to turn up tomorrow. But they have literally been saying this for weeks, months really, but weeks properly. So it really is like that bit in Grand Designs where they focus in on the rainwater and the plastic flapping on site because nothing's going on, and the sad music comes on. So hopefully in this same video I'll be able to come back to you with hallelujah good news, because I'm getting pretty bored of this now. If I don't, and the windows don't come, then I will update you in the next video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, Crilly, for the house stuff, although I don't really update it, let's be honest. And I'm gonna go in because it's really, really rainy. So I shall see you next time. Well, it's weeks later, and I mean weeks. You wouldn't guess because it's still raining, but look. That's attractive. But look. We actually have a room. I don't think I can stand on it because this has just been grouted. Maybe I can. Just live life dangerously. So we have glass, and it's pretty spectacular. So you can see that the sight lines on those windows are just so thin. Obviously you've got the frame at the top and the frame at the bottom, which you can't help, but when the ceiling comes down and is plastered, you won't see so much of that frame there. So that's that way, looking down that way, and that's looking that way. So you can see that's all been landscaped. The steps are looking great. Everything's looking amazing out here. A dry stone walling, a non-dry dry stone walling. Got a digger up there, not sure what that's doing, but you know, it looks nice. And once again, it's just tipping down with rain. Mr. Bear, what are you doing? I'm so glad to catch this on film. These are the things you never catch cats doing. That was pretty impressive, wasn't it? Come here, you silly sausage. Mr. Bear loves it in here, don't you, Mr. Bear? Another place for you to get your paws dusty. This, I think, is amazing. So happy with that. So all of the ceiling is solid, and that's going to be covered with a living roof. But that is obviously glass in there, so it brings all the light into the kitchen. Come on, Mr. Bear, come on. Let's go through, and we'll have a look from outside, shall we? Or maybe we should film it on a nicer day. And then obviously this is the kitchen door. So this will just stand open, I'd have thought, really. Like that. She says, closing it. It's a bit drafty in there because we haven't turned the underfloor heating on. So, if we go outside this way. The only thing about those doors is I'm too scared to open them because they feel like these really sort of like engineered, amazing. They slide just with one finger, like whoosh, like that. They really are quite incredible, but I'm too scared to touch them. So the outside, so the roof will go on top, and then that is being clad in corten, which is kind of like rusty metal. really. Hold on, let's have a look at Barry. So if you look at Barry the giant, let's go up and see Barry. It will look a little bit like Barry. So that's got to go on, and then that's pretty much it. Plastering, dust, bit of electrics, and yeah, then painting the ceiling and painting that back wall, not the one with the bricks on, that back wall, the plain back wall, and then we're done. I'm just going to go and edit this film and try and get the bit where the cat falls off the plank because it's hilarious, and maybe I'm going to zoom in and put that in over and over and over again so you can just watch that for a few minutes, because I've got a feeling it's pretty genius. And I have to go to a Halloween disco. I'm not looking very Halloweeny, so I'm off to get changed, and I'll do another update when a bit more has happened again.
Mr. Bird, what are you doing? I'm so glad to catch you some film.